Christmas Eve, 2002. A pregnant woman disappeared. Months later, her body was discovered. More than 20 years later, new documentaries are asking one question. Laci Denise Peterson grew up in a close-knit California family, known for her smile, her energy, and the way she brought people together. By 2002, Laci and her husband, Scott Peterson, lived in Modesto, California. They were expecting their first child, a boy they planned to name Connor. Friends and relatives remember Laci's excitement about becoming a mother. In the weeks before Christmas, their home, like many in Modesto, reflected the season. There were last-minute gifts, holiday plans, and anticipation for the new year. Public records and interviews collected by reputable outlets painted a picture of an excited, expectant mother. Laci was 8 months pregnant. In true crime stories, we often begin with a victim. Here, we begin with a life, a daughter, a wife, an expectant mother named Laci. What happened next would grip the nation. Christmas Eve would change everything. According to police reports and court records, Laci Peterson was reported missing on December 24, 2002. Publicly reported accounts note a quiet morning in Modesto. Neighbors later found the Petersons' dog, Mackenzie, outside with his leash. Scott Peterson told authorities he went to the Berkeley Marina to fish. Investigators documented phone calls and movements reported that day. By evening, law enforcement and family were focused on finding Laci. Volunteers poured in, forming one of the largest local searches in recent memory. Officers, family, and neighbors scoured parks, neighborhoods, and canals. Soon, the media descended. From the start, investigators compiled timelines from receipts, calls, and interviews. San Francisco Bay entered the story early. Evidence was logged and tested in accordance with procedure. Authorities provided updates as the search expanded. Months later, remains were discovered along the bay shoreline, later identified as Laci and Connor. Detectives coordinated one of the most extensive investigations in California at the time. Timelines were cross-checked and reconstructed from documents and interviews. Boats scoured the bay. Labs processed samples and records. Analysts reviewed phone data and movements. Currents, distances, and search grids were studied. Thousands of hours. Hundreds of investigators. One mystery. As attention grew, so did the scrutiny. Chain of custody and procedure were documented throughout. Months after Laci's disappearance and the discovery along the shoreline, the case turned. Scott Peterson was arrested and charged. Formal charges moved the matter from investigation to courtroom. The trial would be watched by millions. Prosecutors presented a largely circumstantial case. They focused on Scott Peterson's reported movements, behavior, and Bay-related evidence. Jurors were shown routes and timelines. Records were used to contextualize the timeline. The trial drew intense media attention. The defense argued there was no direct forensic link placing Laci's death on Scott Peterson. They challenged Bay current assumptions and the prosecution's inferences. They pointed to other possibilities, arguing reasonable doubt. The jury returned guilty verdicts for first-degree murder of Laci and second-degree murder of Connor. Scott Peterson was sentenced to death. Years of appeals followed. In 2020, the California Supreme Court reversed the death sentence, citing juror selection issues. In 2021, Peterson was resentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. The conviction stands. Years later, new documentaries revisited the case and sparked debate. One program, produced by A&E, highlighted defense claims and fresh public discussions. Podcasts and interviews amplified renewed questions. The defense has claimed that additional witnesses and tips were not fully weighed. They referenced publicly discussed statements about sightings and activity in the area. They questioned certain forensic interpretations tied to the Bay. They argued the timeline allowed for alternative scenarios. State responses in court filings maintained that the evidence supported the verdict. Courts have repeatedly declined to overturn the conviction. New questions do not always produce new legal answers. Post-conviction challenges focused on juror issues and claims of new evidence. Some issues led to changes in sentence, not the conviction. Defense efforts continued through hearings and filings. Scott Peterson remains convicted. Documentaries present competing narratives, claims, counterclaims, and court rulings. Responsible coverage distinguishes evidence from allegation, but public curiosity keeps the conversation going. This case became a cultural lens on love, loss, and suspicion. Television coverage amplified every development. Streaming platforms revived interest for new audiences. Podcasts and YouTube investigations dissect documents and timelines. Debates play out in real time. Amid the noise, one truth remains. This began with a life taken too soon. A community changed, a courtroom decided, and the legal record is clear. The conviction stands. Why can't America let go? Because unanswered questions and human stories persist. For one family, Christmas would never be the same. For America, the debate continues.